Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Monday, May 15th, 2023, around 3:15 p.m. Eastern. We'll be having a time for change call this Wednesday at around 9 p.m. Eastern. We're going to talk about the agenda on this planet from both ends. We are so deeply consumed by this world every day. The moment we open our eyes in the morning, the mind kicks in and we are flooded with all sorts of beliefs, emotions, and desires. It can become very easy in this day and age to really feel overwhelmed, lost, or confused. We are constantly dealing with a massive amount of information and social pressure every day. Pressure with finances, relationships, love life, family, work, health problems are at the foundation. And then there's our newly found technological relationships with all the stuff, the cell phones, internet, and iPads and everything. We may spend half our day just trying to figure out how to get through it alive. Now, all this technology we are in is so captivating that we can easily miss out on the connection with our amazing spiritual existence. You ever notice how, because of the ego mind, we're not blaming, it's just an acknowledgement of knowing that the ego mind plays an important factor, influence. And we're in this techno world that seduces us. And we're pulled away from, as far as attention, as far as communication, we're pulled away from the God that we are. Now imagine, let's kind of flip the switch. If we were surrounded every day by people whose only interest was in achieving enlightenment, right? Our world would be very, very, very different. Yet, we have chosen a planet where everyone is still deeply asleep to their divine enlightened nature. In fact, we are also so asleep that we don't even know that we are asleep. There's a lot of people on this planet that are asleep and they don't know they're asleep. Every human being is sleepwalking through this life, meaning that we are always plugged into the mind. The veil is so thick and the pattern is so deep that we need to use everything we've got to wake up. This means using everything we can that we can find outside of ourselves and inside of ourselves. Any real ecstasy is a sign you are moving in the right direction. Don't let any prude tell you otherwise. St. Teresa of Avila. So my golden suggestion for all of us this week is this. Use everything around you to find God. Use every conversation as a vehicle to listen to the divine. Use all your senses everywhere you go. Touch, taste, feel, hear, and even breathe in the smell of the divine. Use every moment of your free time to find deep silence, stillness, and inner peace, so you can connect deeper with the divine. Use the media and all that excessive advertising that is constantly dumped on you to find God. When you read something that jumps out at you, I'm sure you've had this happen. Try to notice how its spiritual message is just for you. Now, you may think, say, the ego mind, you may think that or feel that that's, you ignore it. You kind of, you take a second look, and something comes in and you go, no, and then you just move on. But there is a constant communication going on for all of us. When you feel like you might be making some form of connection to God, breathe that feeling deeply into your body. Stop everything and give this experience all that you've got. Cause it might not last long. Notice how the feeling resonates with what's going on in your life. Find the practical aspects, like how does this simple billboard advertisement, we got electronics and all kinds of things, whatever comes into your view, giving you the deepest guidance that you're needing in your relationships right now. There are no coincidences. We should strike that word from our vocabulary. God is already always around us. We only have synchronicity in this life. Everything is perfect and divinely aligned. The God source never ever makes mistakes. When you are 100% devoted to finding total alignment with the divine and everything around you, the magic will its way into you. There's one thing about the spiritual awakening process that is certain. You want access to the most amazing spiritual experiences in this life. It is going to take everything you've got. The enlightened state is definitely not like anything you've experienced before. There are no more problems in your life anymore. There are only deeper and deeper and deeper connections with the divine. Enlightenment is not for the half-assed skeptical seeker, the protective pessimist, or the mind addict that is super smart intellectual. It's for that ordinary being who has devoted their entire heart and soul to something beyond this world. It's for that simple soul who wants to create the deepest, healthiest relationship with themselves and the God source. The biggest difference of all, perhaps, is that their connection with God is their highest priority all throughout the day. So, are you open to exploring your connection with the divine this week? Chances are that you're probably wondering what's the right way, how to do it. Or are you feeling hesitant, reluctant, or thinking that maybe this week is not the right time? There will always be super important things which you need to do. Yet the reality is that your soul has been waiting for real spiritual liberation for lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes. And we have been preparing for a profound spiritual experience forever. We are all here to let go of everything and find our real connection to the divine again. We've all been learning major life lessons after major life lessons after major life lessons, tilling the hard, tough inner soil inside you, just so that one day your soul could find some higher enlightened state of being. You were born, we're talking the body, to find some way home to yourself. So your mind is always free from all fear, resistance, stagnation, and separation. The enlightened mindset just happens when you return to the pure source of awareness that is behind the mind. When you discover the awareness behind every thought that you're thinking, you come closer to the most sacred intelligence in the universe. This is who you truly are. The funny thing is that there's only one tiny thing stopping you from seeing, feeling, and knowing that God is here now. This is your own mind. The mind is so full of personal beliefs and ideas about this life that there's not much room for anything else. It is overflowing so much that we have become blind to God. Watch out for the mind. It is the only thing stopping you right now. I want you to try something this week if you haven't already tried it. The next time you're in front of a mirror, look non-judgmentally into the mirror. Okay? Just notice. What do you see? Now, we're not looking at you judging how your wrinkles are face, whatever. Okay? You look, next time you're in front of the mirror, look non-judgmentally into the mirror. Just notice, what do you see? Do you see how amazing, multidimensional, and extremely beautiful you truly are? Or do you see all of your flaws and shortcomings? If the mind is not set aside, we can only see and hear what it thinks is good and bad. The mind can be extremely judgmental, and this is pure entertainment for the ego. We do not like being bored, so we cling to all sorts of opinions about right and wrong. As long as you are over-identified with and attached to opinions of good and bad, you cannot spiritually awaken. As long as you are over-identified with and attached to opinions of good and bad, you cannot spiritually awaken. Just remember that all of life is really a grand play. And the nature of the mind is to create contrasts and comparisons. The mind doesn't like the gray middle path. When the mind is too empty, it seeks something juicy to fill it. Let go of filling up the mind and find the spiritual being that you are. This is in silence and stillness within. Interestingly, the heart is not judgmental at all. The heart only loves, accepts, and embraces what is. So don't trust the mind. Trust your heart instead. You've probably heard that many different ways. Be free of the mind and just remain in the heart. You will soon, in time, find the divine. And this is a miracle. The moment that you realize that there is no way to make a home, then this whole existence is home. Then wherever you are at home. Course of Miracles. You, the God that you are, is home. Every day, one way, shape, form, or another, we get lost in a sea of duality. Expect the pendulum to swing back and forth from being lost to being found. again and again and again. Your mind is not the only mind out there that is making a living hell or heaven out of each moment. Everyone is doing this. We are all blind to the divine. We simply have to learn, choose to learn, how to release all attachments, trust in God, and surrender to its totality. When we take this risk to dissolve back into the source, in each moment, we naturally discover how everything around us is helping and guiding us to be free. The good news is that we got a lot more lifetimes to become enlightened. Now, I prefer to reach that post in this lifetime. Just my choice. God is never, ever going to stop loving us, period. Ever. Now, the bad news is that if you postpone, you'll miss out on the 1,000 opportunities heading your way today. I believe that we know that there is no real end to this journey. You don't die when you die. So truly, there is nothing to be concerned about when you realize you are an eternal being. What's here? What is there to be worried or fearful about? You know, it's something that we don't sit down with and communicate. What's there to be worried or fearful about? We are all on this infinite journey. You are always safe and on the right path. You've made it this far, and you're still a very conscious and deeply sensitive being. This is a very good sign, or you wouldn't be in this meditation. You see, we come here, right? We enter these bodies. Now, people say, well, yeah, but our memories aren't there. We don't have our memories to help us from past lives. They're there, but they're hidden. And it's our decision to rediscover them. That's why the enlightened one, right? Buddha means enlightened one. Christ means enlightened one. It's not a name of a person. It's the name of enlightenment. Master your thoughts. You can master your thoughts. And all that is you leave the mind alone. And you become the watcher of your thoughts. Now, we all know that the majority of those thoughts aren't ours. So we do some house cleaning on our subconscious mind where we remove the stuff that we really don't care to take with us. Now, no matter if we are conscious human beings or not, the mind is constantly judging ourselves, other people, this world, and anything that it can get a hold of. You ever been, right? So let's say you're consciously aware that you judge things. You judge yourself and you judge other things outside of you. But you say to yourself, I really don't care to judge. That's my mind that's pushing the judgment. It isn't me, because you are not your mind. So the mind is constantly judging ourselves, other people, this world, and anything it can get a hold of. And it was born with this master-like judgeaholic power. It can judge anything in milliseconds. You may not have realized this yet probably in the last 15 minutes your mind passed 10 judgments on yourself, someone else, or something in this world around you as either good or bad. The judgmental mind is perpetually busy working away at labeling life. And this workaholic is a slippery gremlin to catch. We are so accustomed to the mind judging everything in this life. It's as if we've been soaking our hands in warm water for 25 years and we don't realize that it's completely wrinkled and about to fall off. That's a good depiction. Analogy. So, to clarify exactly what judgment is the mind labeling something in this life as either good or bad, but not both. It is a one-sided viewpoint of existence, which separates and divides. Interestingly, judgment manifests only when we are living up in the head and are disconnected from our heart. When we are living from the heart, the mind cannot judge. This occurs because the heart is free from duality. The mind can only exist in duality, seeing black and white. The heart cannot get hooked in whatever the mind believes is only good or only bad. When the heart is leading the way, we are free from the perpetual prison of the judging mind. If we are to be free from judgment, we must choose to drop out of the head and into the heart. Then the mind will quiet and become very still. From this space, we can watch our mind closely and see just how slippery its judgmental habit is. We can see how it tends to avoid what it deems as scary. The mind often believes that if I get what I want, this is good, then I will be happy. And if I get what I don't want, this is bad, then I will be unhappy. The more enlightened path, however, is understanding that in this great divine supreme, all-intelligent universe, we are going to get it all. We always, always, always get what we want and what we don't want. For example, and there's always two sides. There's actually three, the one in the center, and then one on each side. We might manifest a dream partner or soulmate, only later realize that they trigger our deepest, darkest issues and childhood insecurities to surface every day. Or perhaps we spend half our life running in the great societal rat race, being devoted to striving, achieving big, luxurious dreams, and becoming financially free, only to realize later that we missed out on so many beautiful sunsets while we were indoors chasing some fantasy. Life always both. We get death and birth. We always get both. And this polar opposite is inside everything that exists. The yin is contained within the yang, and the yang within the yin. The more often we practice seeing, feeling into, and accepting how we always get what we want and what we don't want in this life, the judgmental mind just drops on its own accord. We naturally start living every day in deep harmony with existence. We become vulnerable to existence again. And in this sweet humility, we can feel the great perfection of life. We deeply accept that this existence is the expression of the highest intelligence, and that the good and bad judgment plan is the smartest plan available from God to create a spiritual awakening experience inside every being on this earth. I challenge you to see if you can find a single situation, person, or thing of this world that is only 100% positive and does not also have the tiniest hidden negative byproduct within it. If you think you found something, like a new flower budding or an amazing sunset, just wait and investigate it a bit longer, as both sides will eventually show. There's always another side to the coin, as the flower will one day wither away and the mazy sunset colors always fade into the darkness. We always get both. The rose always comes with a few thorns, even if they are small thorns. So you can choose to free yourself from the judgment habit. You can do this. We all can do it. Start looking deeper into yourself and accept any judgments you may have. Like, I am too fat, too short, too ugly, too poor, too dumb, too smart, too much in my head. Welcome all the judgments you have about yourself. And just don't reject, avoid, or judge them. See them for what they are. They are one-sided judgments that you have about you. When you can truly see and welcome the judgment, it will have less energy and magnetic pull on you. In a matter of minutes, the contracting, hard feeling around the judgmental thought will lessen, drop into stillness, and you will become truly free from it. As far as this welcoming process works, the secret is moving totally into the experience of judging. When you can truly see and welcome the judgment, it will have less energy and magnetic pull on you. In a matter of minutes, the contracting hard feeling around the judgmental thought will lessen, drop into stillness, and you will become truly free from it. As far as this welcoming process works, the secret is moving totally into the experience of judging. When you consciously are feeling only one side of the judgment, awareness grows in you. You cannot fall into that old judgment again so easily next time. You can see just how it impacts your mind, emotions, and heart. When you remain in a one-sided experience of this life deeply and fully for a long time, something inside you will soon tire, and then the judgment pendulum just swings to the other side. So, for example, you may feel and say that you're never good enough, that you cannot do anything right. After welcoming that judgment and feeling for 5 to 10 or even 20 minutes, something in you will exhaust itself, release the contraction, and wake up. This smaller enlightened aspect inside you will sneak in and perceive that on some level you are doing everything right and you are totally good enough. When you welcome judgment, the judgment pendulum soon swings, and this allows you to know what perfect peace feels like. Now, some of us, some people, may think that always welcoming and acknowledging both the good and the bad in this life is just some boring, fatalistic, nihilistic, uncreative path that only leads to a state of apathy. Well, actually, it's quite the contrary, it's true. By learning to accept and welcome it all, we find that we are truly okay with everything that is and feel a more spacious quality within ourselves. We feel we have more time to develop our ability to expand consciousness and relax into our lives. From this expanded space, we dramatically increase our manifesting vibration, we deepen our state of inner peace, and become a magnet for the most amazing life situations to occur for us. You will find that the welcoming process is extremely powerful simply because it leaves nothing out. It comes from a deep spiritual place inside you that is saying yes to the totality of your existence. You are just not interested in fighting, proving anything, or resisting life anymore. Instead, you move and feel totally fluid like water, without resistance, force, or control. In this state, it's so easy to realize that God is everywhere and in everything. It is this deep welcoming mind that creates an enlightened mindset where you actually feel, see, and understand the divine perfection of life. We become more interesting people as we stop wasting our energy trying to negate others, ourselves, or continuously be upset with the way life is. In a mind that is free from all judgments of ourselves and others, we naturally appreciate it all. We can see that the glass is half empty and half full at the same time. We can feel this infinite empty universe all around us, and also sense how the sun is always rising somewhere on this planet, sharing and radiating its brilliant light. Living in the enlightened mindset is like floating in a sea of orgasm, waves of deep cosmic opening to joy, happiness, appreciation, and ecstasy can actually waft through our body at any time. When the mind is not occupied with judgments, we have more energy to make more love, explore our spiritual nature, and taste the freedom that exists at the core of our being. When we can live daily in this enlightened mindset, everything inside us changes. All the previous pain we've been carrying seemed to have mysteriously disappeared. We can naturally and fully relax into our divine, balanced nature. Now, what I find this most interesting aspect of all is that this judgment-free, this judgment-free, enlightened mind is absolutely our most natural state. It is already inside us, and it exists at the core of who we are, the God, the pure consciousness, at the seed of our consciousness itself. We can only experience it directly, however, when we have respect and reverence for the perfect balance that exists in everything. When we acknowledge the divine balance within every situation, person, coincidence, accident, belief, memory, and atom throughout this universe, we can open up to it. The more acceptance we have that there's always good in the bad and bad in the good, something deeper inside us lets go. And we can finally relax into our deepest spiritual experience of life, this life. When the mind calls off the search for defining and redefining what's good and bad, we have an infinite reservoir of creative energy to surrender fully to our soul. This enlightened life is not just about cultivating a deeper relationship with our mind. It's about getting beyond the mind. When we master our mind, we no longer live in fear. When the mind fails or falls from its altar, we rise to the summit. As we learn how to drop into a perpetual state of surrender, allowing the greater intelligence of this universe to run the entire show, we see how every precious moment in this life has this bigger universal force behind it all. In seeing this, the mind totally gives up, and we realize that we have become the perfection that exists within everything. With enough awareness, we can totally stop the judgmental mind habit and wake up from the addiction. Then we'll know what real freedom is like, and nothing else will satisfy more than this freedom. The true freedom is from all forms of pain. It is the greatest experience of this life. This means the mind can slip back into clinging to delusion and desire, and you don't. The mind might crave, whine, and yearn to be free. Yet you know that you are the one behind it, who is actually already free. You remain the watcher, deeply detached and liberated from the mind's antics. It's the greatest, deeply eternal loving of all when you realize that you are not your mind. The more we practice welcoming judgments, the easier it becomes to see the mind and how to be free from it. When we can always see the good, the bad, and the balanced meeting of the two, then the struggle of this life doesn't matter so much anymore. The mind soon gets trained to only see balance and perfection. It automatically observes how the good is in the bad, and the bad is in the good, and how these two worlds always collide, and there is nothing left but freedom. There is just the pure observer watching and witnessing it all. Rely on the essence of your pure wisdom mind, not on judgmental perceptions. Rely on the spirit and meaning of the teaching, not on the words. Buddhist teaching. The enlightened judgment-free mind is always available and shows up when we release the need to be right and instead create more room to be happy. Happiness through inner peace becomes the goal. instead of striving and focusing on surviving this life. With inner peace as the priority, the dualistic mind soon becomes free from attachment, desire, resistance, and contraction. We surrender to the heart and can actually feel deeply okay with whatever manifests and does not manifest in our lives. This enlightened mindset is not hard to achieve. It takes the most deeply rooted devotion to ourselves. It takes the most deeply rooted devotion to ourselves. We must choose to be willing to know ourselves intimately and never, ever, ever, ever stray from exploring further about who and what we are. This exploration leads to a profound honoring of the sacredness in all things in life. We start honoring that this balanced state of perfection is everywhere. And we have nothing to complain about or try to change in ourselves anymore. Instead, we start worshiping everything around us. We see everything and everyone as the divine and physical form. We bow down to this very ordinary life, and we call it God. We look into a blade of grass and understand how it's just as sacred and important as our entire galaxy. To remain in a judgment-free, enlightened mind every day, we must choose to look at what cannot be looked at and revel in being totally real with our pain. If and when we wish to remain liberated, we must be willing to see where we are still in prison, fighting to get out. As long as we are fighting, we are still not truly free. So we must choose to always be aware of the slippery mind. We must choose to never allow the sneaky judgments to take over us again. We must choose to be 100% creatively devoted to consciously being awake, aware, and ready to step beyond a seemingly safe, judgmental world. We must choose to become the black sheep of this world if we are to be truly free. We cannot ever agree with anyone who says that some things are just 100% bad and nothing good at all will ever come of it. We must choose to become the black sheep of this world if we are to be truly free. We cannot ever agree with anyone who says that some things are just 100% bad and nothing good at all will ever come out of it. We must choose to stop all movement whenever any judgment arises. We must choose to watch our thoughts and beliefs vigilantly. Be totally aware whenever the mind starts believing in some final truth. We must choose to do everything we can so that the ego cannot harden and cling to any opinions formed or thoughts containing right and wrong beliefs. And as you probably know, this path takes some serious devotion. Blaming holds you in the energy of the duality, of victim and abuser. Forgiving is a direct way of reclaiming your power and freeing yourself to love beyond judgment. Grace alone. Some people will tell you how this universe is not already in a perfect design. They might try to make you a believer that you should only get what you want and nothing else. Now, this seems like the ideal situation to be in, right? Well, the spiritual awakening process is always much deeper and more complex than it appears to be. If the universe was set up this way, the great mystery would be gone. If we should ever know what a block, problem, pain, or failure was like, we would be without direction, feel perpetually numb, and have no longing to dig deep inside our souls to find our life mission, creativity, and spiritual path. This universe is already set up in the most intelligent manner. It's designed so that we can get a good solid taste of suffering, anxiety, or inner turmoil, and use it to awaken with. Whenever we go unconscious and forget the divine all-intelligent universe is everywhere around us, we instantly suffer. Whenever we allow the mind to form any judgment and register only one side of reality, our problems begin. This universe loves us so much that it doesn't want us to live in any lie. So it wakes us up with a little stress, anxiety, or emotional pain. If we don't stop and drop our judgments, another level of suffering will soon manifest. This pain is our most perfect and most loving teacher, and by welcoming it fully, we are led back to our real state of love, enlightenment, and freedom. I'll join you in the meditation, and I'll return to close us out. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose, and an easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still. You will live for eternity. Sure, this body and mind will die someday, yet you will go on and on and on. Once you know in your heart that you have an infinite amount of time ahead of you, you relax and step into an expansive, timeless, multidimensional spiritual experience. Every little occurrence becomes another opportunity for spiritual growth and enlightenment. So here's your assignment today. Act as if you are living an ever-youthful, energetic, super-alive body-mind that will live far beyond 1,000 years. Have conversations with people from this place, knowing you will live forever. Imagine the wisdom, relationships, and life experiences you will have during this time. Feel, experience, and know you will live forever in an ideal anti-aging state of being. Explore, imagine, and rediscover who you are. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night, and the following morning. And we will return here Tuesday, May 16th, 2023, 3:15 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation call. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times, and in the highest of the deepest eternal gratitude at all times, no matter what's going on around you.